right. How are we doing? This is the first time using this new computer. So I have a tiny little Intel NUC 12 Extreme, and I have my work laptop, and I'm inputting it into it, and then that is what's streaming. It's the first time, and like so far I'm using 1.5% of the CPU, it says. Alright, so hopefully I have everything set up. If you're out there and you can hear me, and you can hear the background music, let me know. Like, where is it? Okay, I can see the mic, I can see the audio. I need to like move these things around, or like in an order that's different on the audio mixer. But yeah, it's like the one thing I didn't test out was audio, because like that's harder to do. But we are here, we are ready. I need to pause this one over here because it's delayed. Alright. I am worried that like I'm going to be looking down a lot more, so I need to figure out like this whole desk configuration that I've got going on. Because there's cables everywhere right now, I'm not going to lie. And I will start that project soon. But I'm also going to like do something about the mirror that's in front of me, so I can like bounce my light off like I used to, and have like a nice like soft light box effect instead of like this thing looking at me in my face the entire time. But anyway, exciting stuff. We have new streaming equipment, and like everything's green. Okay, we're gonna assume everything's fine. Cool. So I don't even remember what I did last week. I've done so much on the app. So we're still working on the charity activations app. I'm trying to get that to a point where I can, like, I don't know, I'm going to call it GA or open source it for like real. And so that's what I kind of want to figure out, how far away that is. I'm being very careful because it's actually being used in at Red Hat Summit right now. So I don't want to like deploy anything and like mess that up. So I have everything in its own branch. Yeah, do I have? I don't even know. Are we actually online? Maybe it's just the dashboard. Like the bitrate thing is just like offline. Maybe it's because I got it paused. Let me maybe it's something with the dashboard. I'm very skeptical. Like anytime I do something new, it's like make sure there's nobody on here that's like, hey yo. And there's a delay, so I don't know. Okay, this is fun. Yeah, I think it's just the... No, I have to be streaming because I'm looking at it. Okay, we're fine. Stop worrying. Okay. Let's go to the... let's see. Oh, okay, so I have like multiple mice and keyboard now. It's going to take some getting used to. So let's hit this button. And I did get a critique about the new setup, and it's something that I'm considering. If you notice, like when I'm on solo coding mode, there's no more Atticus. And so my kind of workaround for that is to make him the default guest, and then I can work on the pair programming mode. So he can still be down there doing something, if I do this. But I am working on getting like guests set up, so like we can use video.ninja to bring people in. And since I have a computer that won't blow up whenever I bring in guests, like we'll actually be able to do guests again. So that'll be fun. But maybe like I just set it up to where Atticus is the default guest, and I can do it on this. Because like this is enough of me to see. It's probably too much. It's very big. We'll decide. This is a work in progress. So let's go back to. We'll do this for right now. because I don't have that set up, and it's going to take some time. So we are working on the charity activations for events. Got a lot of it done. I'd show you, well, let me show you the one. So let's go, actually let me start it up. Here's my terminal, there we go. So we'll do npm run dev, get that fired up, and we'll see kind of what it looks like here. I did go through from basically the last, I remember we ended on something wasn't working, and then it was like a very quick fix that like I stumbled onto as soon as I turned the stream off. But I can't remember what it was. I tweeted about it. I could go look. But then after that, I started working on migrating from that validated form, remix validated form, to the conform library that I saw a presentation on at RemixConf. And I have that all done. There's still some work that I could do to do better live validation on my custom components, because I have like the charity selector, and now I have a charity picker, and different things like that. I also cleaned up how all that's working to put those in resource routes as full stack components. So, you know, taking a cue from how Kit C. Dodds is doing it. Okay, so that's started up. Let's go over here. So let's see, let's go to localhost 3000. So I am logged in. I'm going to log out. Because the big thing that I did was we can now sign in using Okta. And because this is mostly used by people right now at CockroachDB, we all use Okta for authentication. And so to make it easier for people to come on, like to start using it, they can just hit this sign in. Now, one thing that I do have on my list is to build in permissions. And so like I'm looking at how the Epic stack that was just released by Kit C. Dodds is doing theirs. I'll probably do something similar. So that way they start with like lower permissions. And so, you know, if anybody at CockroachDB signs in, they're not going to be able to like delete, well, I didn't implement delete yet, but like, you know, update events and remove charities and things like that. Get access to the leads, things like that. So I do want to build in roles and then set them, whoever logs in for the first time, it creates them at the lowest role. So I can now sign in just using sign in with Okta. I still have the form strategy in here. I just commented out most of it, but I kept like a lot of the code, and I went ahead and migrated that over to conform and things like that. So that way, if somebody wants to fork this and use it for themselves and use form authentication, it will still work. Still work, he says. I'm working on figuring out how to handle multiple strategies. So if I wanted to have like a login form with an email and password, or like a series of buttons, log in with Okta, log in with Google, log in with GitHub, they would all work, and then the back end, the database, would be able to know where they came from, because we do need to store some metadata about the user that is unique to this application. And I did some fun things here. So like I made a sign in with Okta button, and I did some fun things with a use fetcher. And so whenever we sign in, let's see if it doesn't do it too quickly. So we sign in, and then you can see that the Okta Aurora, I think is what it's called, did a little spin before it redirected us. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in. And of course, and then it will redirect me back to the dashboard. And the great thing is we have all of the people, all of the users' information. So now it says, welcome Adrian, because I have access to my email, my first name, and my last name. I think that's the only thing that comes over with Okta. For other ones, like there might be other information that comes over. Like I was sad that there wasn't like a profile image, because that would have been fun to like just automatically show that and not have to worry about like uploading profile images and things like that. I don't even know if we need that in this application. It was just something I was going to add if it was available to us. But we have all of the different events and the charities, so we now have 5 charities. I don't know how I want this initial dashboard to look. I think once we implement roles and permissions, it might change, but this was just kind of quick and dirty to be able to do it. And so we have the ability to add new events, and then we can edit them. So like here's Atticus's Gotcha Day. I was like, I just noticed that there's, I wonder if there's a bug. Now would be the time to find it. Okay, so I'm going to hit submit. And then let's go back in. No, it's still in there. Maybe I just deleted one as a test. Normally you have 4. So here we say select up to 4 charities. You don't have to have 4. You just can't have more than 4. So we can add and edit events. We can now add and edit charities. And I did like a cool little thing where you can drag and drop the logo. That's I think what we were working on last time. I also like changed the formatting. I found somebody who styled it differently. So I was using things from Kinsey Dodds with the full stack components, and then I was using a tutorial from Saban about how to actually create this drag and drop, and I changed it a little bit, made it a full stack component, made it use a use fetcher, and so now if I just grab one of these, we'll grab this one, just drag it, drop it, and it puts it in there. And so what it's doing in the background is it's actually doing a submit using the fetcher, going to an endpoint, and it's turning the SVG into a string and returning it. And so there is a hidden field inside of this component that has the string of the SVG, and so whenever we submit the whole thing, it goes to the back end and we store that in the database. And then I'm pulling it out of the database and putting it into, I think inline SVG is the package that I'm using. So we can like kind of display them straight out of the database. Again, you can store images and files in the database, just don't do it if they're over a meg. I believe that's kind of the upper limit. And I think somewhere, one of the things that I'm wanting to do is add validation around like the size, so that way whenever it makes that first submit, if it's like bigger than 1 meg, it will actually come back with an error. And I don't remember if I finished that, but that's part of the whole, I need to make conform work with my custom components, and it's just something I haven't done. So we're still a little bit on the happy path here. I should really write that down as, I think I have it written down. So yeah, and then you can just drag over. I think maybe a little X button would be great here. So there's charity activations. You can also edit it. I haven't put the little pencil button in, so I just made this a link here right now. And so here's all of our different, or here's all the information for this charity. Fun. And then let me show you one. Okay, so here's Camp Roach. And so this is one of the dashboards, right? It looks better on the iPad. Yes. So we have like one of the, is it 12.9 inch iPads? I didn't leave enough room for me to make like gestures. I have like this tiny window. Maybe I will change it to put Atticus down there so I have like a box. I don't know. So you can see here, this is kind of the way it's styled. It's all brought in from the database. We only have, I do wonder if there's like a bug, because I only see 3. Let me see. Let's edit this. I wonder, like, it looks like all, okay, let's go back. Do all of them just have 3 now? See what this looks like. Okay, that one has 4. It might have been something when I was, like, messing around with the database. See, that one's missing 1. We'll just add that one back in. And that's blue. Okay, so that was our one from Remix. Yeah, I think maybe something messed up and it got removed. I was playing around in the database, so I should not do that. That's another thing that I'm wanting to add to kind of this and everything going forward, is a dev database, and so I want to kind of write up instructions on how to spin up a single node cluster on your local host and use it for dev, so that way I stop like messing with the production database. Let me go ahead and add this one back. Yeah. The good thing is what this modifies is just the selections that you have. So it doesn't actually, if the charity, if it's deleted from there, like the donations that are related to that still exist. So, yeah, I don't know what I did. That's fun. Let's go ahead and add like this one back and blue. I also don't like how, like I got like a double click situation here to get to the yellow. I'll work on that as well. Okay. Alright, so back to this. I might want to do this as open in a new window. Okay, so we've got our... well, that one's not a fun one to do because I just made that one. Here we go. What in the world? Didn't I just fix this? Something weird is happening. So now if I refresh this, there we go. We've got all 3. So this is really cool. There is currently, we're using Hashira to update these, like automatically. And then we keep track of the total donations, the total donated. I put this here because I needed to fill space. It looked weird without it. And then we've got our logos across the bottom, and then this QR code, which I have it for ease of me. You can pick it up and you can just yeah, you can vote. It does look pretty nice on a mobile phone. So yeah, and this is one where we're not collecting leads, so you're not prompted for any user information. We're just wanting to capture, what charity. Okay, so that's like basically it. So yeah, where's my, it's on my phone. So I have a number of things that I want to do to it. Right now it's single region for both the database and the app. And so I want to change where it's deployed to. Currently we're deploying it to a Vercel function. That's not really great because of what happens whenever the Vercel function falls asleep. And so the like connectivity to the Hashira service gets disrupted. I'd really like to change this to something that supports streaming, so like a long-running node instance. Cloudflare, I believe, also supports streaming. So, I think right now I'm between Fly.io and Cloudflare. But yeah, and then I want to change it to just doing server-sent events. So that's what we use like the streaming support for. And then I can just hook this directly into CockroachDB as part of 23.1, which will be available on serverless shortly, and is generally available now. We can, the webhook sync for CDC just went GA. And so what happens is every time every time there's, you can set it to where every time there's an update to a certain table, it can send out a message to a webhook endpoint, and then we can capture that and send it over to the front end and update this graph. So I like that because it keeps everything in like CockroachDB. So like the only two things you need to worry about to deploy this is your hosting environment and your database. So we're going to do that. But yeah, let's see. So what do I want to do? Those were all the changes. You're not really going to see a lot of the changes for the form stuff, but like now if you hit submit, we have all of these different things, and that's being handled by conform, and it's really nice because it's being powered by a Zod object in the back, or a Zod schema in the back. But yeah, it's pretty fun to do. So let's go to the repo. I think what I want to do is I have like all these things in a note on my phone, because like if I'm like on an airplane without internet, or like I'm in a car or something, I just like add these ideas. And so what I want to do is I want to put them into the GitHub repo, so I can kind of keep track of like what needs to be done before this is considered like GA. Oh, come on. So this is the repo. It's completely open. Oh, the little bitrate thing is going. Let's see what it says. Oh, now it says excellent. So I don't know what's going on. Okay, yeah, no, we seem to be fine. It's amazing how like little CPU just streaming is taking from this machine. It's pretty powerful. I'm so far happy with it. And I have like a little USB switcher, so it switches my keyboard back and forth. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I guess I could do... That's a good idea. Because I was worried about like looking down, but I could get my stand back out and just like switch back and forth because the button's right here. Why am I making this hard on myself? Next time. We're learning. We're constantly learning. Yeah, because I keep like hitting the wrong trackpad. Okay. So these, you see, this is the repo. One of the things is I need to update the README. But I did get in the license, so it's MIT licensed. Taking care of legal stuff. I think it's actually down here too. So I saw this somewhere, like somebody was doing it like this, and I was like, I like this. So I did it. But yeah, stay away from the main branch until Red Hat Summit is over. I have like so much stuff that's going to be merged in. So issues. So let's take a look at the issues. That's not the right one. Here we go. So obviously update the README. So we're going to put that in as an issue. Update readme.md. Seems pretty self-explanatory. See, add project information, setup, dev, and deploy instructions. Cool. Let's see, labels. Projects. Well, we can do that stuff later. Alright, I'm just going to add them in. I think probably what I'll do is after I get them done, we'll look at the tickets and the ones that need to be done before I like open this up to everybody and publish an article about it. I'll put into like some kind of like MVP, well, we already did the MVP, but like a GA project. But yeah, I should keep track of these because how will we know? And I want to get this done. I want to get this out there. The only blocker is me. It's me. Hi. I'm the blocker. It's me. So update the README. Very important. Let's do a new issue. See, I'm going to skip putting that one in right now. Custom response message. This, I think, is important. Support a custom response message for per event. Yeah, we'll say that. So what I'm thinking here is once people select a charity on the form, we want to come back with a message. Sometimes it's going to be a situation where they make their choice, and then we say like, go put the peg in the board. But at Red Hat, we don't have the board because our booth is too small for it, and so we don't want to say go put a peg in the board, and I don't want to have to like update the code every time. And so this is going to be like something that's in HTML, and so I want to use MDX to do that. We're using handlebars for the tweet template. So after you pick your selection and hit submit, it presents you with a tweet button. If you click it, it like sets up a tweet, and so it's like, I just helped CockroachDB donate $3 to whatever charity, etc., etc., etc. So that's really nice to be able to like customize that per event, because sometimes we want to put in like hashtags, sometimes we want to put in like mentions, things like that. But right now the response message is static. So use MDX to specify response message with template fields? Template fields? Sure. Template fields for the response. Like charity donated to. Good enough for right now. We'll get it in there. All right. What is next? Update custom components for conform. So that one's definitely one I need to put in as an issue so I remember to do it. Update custom components to work with conform live validation. And so we've got update. There's my little checkbox. There it is. So we've got charity picker. We've got charity selector. Lead score selector. And I feel like there was like one more. File upload. File uploader, I believe is what I called it. Yeah. So just need to take care of those so that way we can give better feedback. New issue. Okay. Switch deployment to platform that supports streaming. Let's see. We want to be able to use server sent events. options include, this is not an exhaustive list, these are just the two I'm looking at, long, oh wait, so switch deployments to a platform that supports streaming, and multi-region deploys. So we need to be able to deploy close to the database. Options include long, running, Node.js, on fly.io, and Cloudflare. I think it's just Cloudflare Pages now. So they just recently had a developer week, and from what I understand, they've kind of merged workers into pages. So I think you start with a pages project, and then that gives you access to workers. This is all something that I'm going to have to learn how to do, but it's exciting. We can see. Just need to make sure it's a good fit, because I know that they can deploy to like many different regions. And we can definitely keep some that are going to be close to where we're putting our database. All right. So, new issue. Implement multi-region serverless DB. So we're going to say migrate to a multi-region CockroachDB serverless cluster. Currently using a single region cluster. Need a multi-region to handle our EMEA events team. Cool. So multi-region serverless just came out. I think you can add up to 9 regions, which is pretty cool. So we support 9 regions around the globe. You can create a new serverless cluster, and then you can use like regional by row. You can kind of set, if you want tables to be global, if you want them to be locked to a certain region. It's very cool. I think it's a lot more cost effective than how we had to do it before, which is using our dedicated product or self-deploying. But the great thing is, like, with serverless model, it's elastic scale, and you're only paying for what you use. So if you have support for these other regions, but like no one's using it there yet, like those clusters or those pods aren't spun up, so you're not paying for them, which is pretty cool. And it still works on the same, RU system, where you start with the free tier. You start with your like 5 gigs of storage, and scale up after that. So we're going to do that. I think this is going to be a cool use of CockroachDB serverless, at least for me. Like for a small demo, that's not like huge. So we're going to do that. What's the next thing? So use CDC for real-time updates. So CDC is change data capture. So implement CDC using a webhook sync for real-time data. And so this will set up CDC to trigger, I don't think trigger's a good idea, to send events when the donation table updates. accept event using a remix resource route, and then use server sent events to send to the front end. So basically we're going to be replacing his Shura. And this is for a couple reasons. One, we can keep it all in the system. So CockroachDB has this capability with change data capture, and they can send it directly to a webhook, where before I would need to send it to something like Kafka, and then listen to Kafka in a resource route, and then send it forward to get it. Or I would use something like pusher channels for WebSockets. And then the other reason is CDC is distributed. So whenever we implement multi-region, it will be sent from whatever cluster it hits. And so it's a much better solution for multi-region. And I just really like that, we're just using one product to do it all. Okay, so we got that. Because we're making a global app. Hey! You're hearing some echo. Oh, is it the music, I wonder? Is it when I talk? Or is it the music? Me talking. Interesting. I'm glad you said that because I have not been able to test the audio. Where would that even be echoing from? Yeah, I said it really quiet. Or how about... I think if I set it all the way, then I can control the volume on Spotify. How's that for the music? But the echo... Oops, what did I just... That's the overlays. The music is better now. Okay. And so what I did there is I just upped the music to like full on this audio mixer, and then I'm using Spotify to control it. The echo sounds almost like two mics. So let me go in and see, because I've got the mic auxiliary. I know. Oh, I see what it is. It's my Sony camera. It has a mic in it as well. Okay, how about now? Because I just turned off the. Yeah, that's what it was. I don't think it's ever done that before. Or maybe I just turned it off before. Let me go back. Let's go over here. I think this is gonna... Okay, well I turned it off in one place. I think I should probably go in and turn it off in the Camlink setup. Actually, let's go over to studio mode here, because that way I can click on it and it won't change the scene. Local webcam. Buffering. Audio output mode. Capture audio only. Well, I don't want it to capture audio. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to turn it off like I just did. But that's good to know. I don't ever remember having this problem. Weird. Let me go back to I was like, what am I on? Solo programming. Okay. Turn off studio mode. All right. Well, I'm glad we got that fixed. Things can only get better. Like, yeah, let's say that. Okay. So back over to this other computer. I'm still like, I have cables everywhere, and like, I'm still trying to figure out like what my desk setup needs to be. But I can tell you that the Nook is taking up very little space on the desk, and that makes me very happy. Okay, so we did CDC. Oh, okay. And so the next one is implement i18n. Again, saw another talk at Remix Conf. And I was like, if we're going to make this a global app, then I want to be able to like show it in different languages. This one's not going to be like the highest priority, so this is not going to stop us from like the initial release, but it's definitely something that I want to look into adding. So especially like if we're using this at an event that's in France, I want to be able to like throw up the French version of the dashboard. So at least like the customer facing things, or like, yeah, the customer facing things. So if not the dashboard, the form that we have people fill out, so it can detect if, you know, somebody's using a different language, and then fill in that language if we have it available. So I think it would be a nice thing to have for global applications. And so this is all kind of leading up to what I hope to release as the Rochella stack, which is going to be a remix stack for building global applications. So I want to make sure that like the i18n is built into it. Even if people decide not to use it, I want to make sure that it's like baked in, so if they want to start using it, they can. Even if it only comes with like English. But maybe I'll like, you know, outsource some people. Like this is going to be open source, so like maybe people will want to you know, give some language lists in other countries, so like we can just give some of these things out for free. It's been a long time since I've done any kind of i18n. The first one, and I really think it's like the only one, was working on an application that was going to be used in Brazil. And so I don't know Brazilian Portuguese, but I knew enough to get back to the English version if I accidentally switched. So cool. I'm going to add it as an issue. Implement i18 in and then I have here allow specific pages to be in other languages, add currency type, and fix date and currency display for locality. Yeah, so also, you know, right now all the donations are in USD, and so we should probably keep track of like what currency they're in, especially if we go over to Europe, because if we do an event in England, it might be in pounds. If we do one in anywhere else in Europe, it likely be in euros. Like, we're not saying we're going to donate $3 and then do the exchange rate. So I need to keep track of that. So when there is a place where we specify the donation amount, and so we probably need to follow that up with the currency as well. And that's just all part of like trying to be responsible as a global app. All right, so we'll submit that issue. The next thing I've got, add settings to admin for company metadata. So right now this is hey Gabe, how's it going? Woo! Hi, oh, it's Kirby. I was like, hi, Bonnie. I like looked and it was really small, and I thought those were bunny ears, but it just says hi. Yeah. I'm back on my stuff. trying to enter in all these issues that like I've only put in my phone. So, you know, I got a new computer, and so like I'm streaming through it. So I have like my MacBook outputting into the computer. And so like, you know, things might be a little buggy. There was a little bit of an echo for a while, but we're getting things fixed. Okay, so this is add settings. Let's see, maybe site settings to, oh no, add settings to admin for company metadata. So currently this is like very hard coded for CockroachDB. I want other people to be able to use it. And so we need to be able to store those values. Like, what is the Twitter handle to use? Like, what is the name of the company? You know, etc. And so we can put all that in there. And so like I have name, Twitter handle, the charity colors. So our charity colors are set by the color of pegs we have. Maybe you have a different way of displaying, you know, the colors. Maybe you want to use a different set of colors. Not everybody has like a light bright that goes with their thing. So yeah, the charity colors, color options we'll put, and then I put etc. So yeah, so we're probably going to need to keep track of that in some database. Cool. And then we'll do another issue. The next thing I have is add roles and permissions. So currently everyone starts as an admin. Create multiple roles and permissions. Default people to lowest user. Possible roles. Admin. Scanner. Event lead. And possibly like what I could do is make it to where like here are a bunch of permissions, and you start with like 2 roles that are built in. So like the admin who has everything and the user who has very minimal, and then allow them to be able to create new roles and assign the permissions. That might be a way to do it. I want to look and see how Kent's doing it in the Epic stack, but yeah. So we'll start there. I think we need that. Like, I mean, yeah, we need that. Especially because the way I have it set up now, anybody in Cockroach Labs can just sign on. And then they have all of the power, just like He-Man. I'm going to put this one in. I haven't fully fleshed it out yet, but I want to be able to generate open graph images. And this is mainly for like Twitter cards, like for social sharing. So we'll say like for social sharing, not sure what this looks like, but it's something that's like there. So what we've been doing is for every event that we do, we have a landing page, and so we just make that part of the tweet template. So at the end there's the link, and then whenever it comes up, it like, you know, shows the nice little landing page that we have. But I think it would be nice to have the app generate one. So based on like what you know, the like what charity you got donated to. So maybe it's like I help, you know, like, well, that's the Twitter message, but like maybe like put in like the charity's logo and things like that, and like maybe how much, you know, how many donations we've gotten for that one or something like that. Like highlighting that one but showing the other ones, maybe showing some information about the thing. I don't know. But it's something that I want to think about, but also it's not something that's going to prevent me from like getting this out to everybody. So we'll just put it in there. What else do I have? We're coming towards the end. This is one we might work on today. Oh, not this one. So handle multiple remix auth strategies. So update database schema to handle multiple strategies is basically what we need to do. Strategies. Okay, strategies. Yeah, so right now, like we were using form auth. I didn't get rid of all that code. I did actually migrate it over like I did the rest of the code. But it's like strictly Okta right now. Like we're not even showing that form. And I'd like to be able to give people the option based on what remix auth strategies. So remix auth is based on like Passport, and there's lots of different strategies. So there's strategies for like Twitter auth, Twitch auth, GitHub, Google, Okta, all of form. And so depending on which one you do, it's different ways. And so we just need to figure out like what that looks like in the database to make it work. And I just haven't thought about it yet. And I posed the question to the Epic stack because I was very interested to see how like Against Seed Odds would implement it, and they just haven't thought about it yet. So it's not hurting anything right now. I think it is something that I would like to have by the time I like write the blog post and like put this out for everybody to use. But it's not like a game changer. You can just do one at a time. Yeah, I mean, because also like I'm not writing the code for all of the different auths. Like I wrote one for form and I wrote one for Okta, but you know it's up to you to like add that in. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, but we're putting it in. And then I think this is okay. 2 more. All right, so this is the one that okay, we got like. I want to spend like 6 more minutes on this and then like actually try to do something. And so this one is handle return to for Okta. So whenever we were doing form validation, we had it set up to where if you went to a page but you weren't logged in or you weren't authenticated, it would send you to the login, but then once you logged in, it would send you back to that page. So that's just something that's like nice to have. If you're building applications and you don't have that, that's not great. It comes in really handy if like people send you links to things and you have to have permission, and like maybe you click on the link and you're not signed in. Like it's just a nice thing to have, to like be able to send you back. And that's broken because I did not finish that out in Okta, because the way Okta works is it ends up sending you somewhere else, and then Okta sends you back to the website. And so what we were doing before was just passing this redirect to around, and that was fine as long as it was like all in our server. But once we like go away from our server, like that is gone. And so I think the way that it's being handled, well, I know the way it's being handled, there's an article by Sergio, is to store that information into a cookie. So whenever you come back, you can check the cookie and grab the redirect information. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in, and this might be what I work on today for the rest of the stream. So handle return to for Okta. And I think really if I do it for Okta, it's going to handle it for all of it. because like everywhere can be able to check that cookie or write to the cookie. I guess we'll have the login page checking it, and so copy this link. So save return to in a cookie, and then we'll just put that in there. This is the article that tells you how to do it. I've like got to read it again, but also I believe it's what Kent is doing in the Epic stack, so we can borrow code from there, which is great. So there's that, and then the last one is something that Kent, I think, tweeted out either today or yesterday, and we want to enable local development. And so like my story is I was heading to RemixConf. I had to work on this on the plane because I didn't have the dashboard styled. And working on it was very, very difficult because even though I had internet on the plane, I kept losing my connection to the database, which would just kill the app because after a while, Prisma was like, look, I'm done. Like, this thing is gone. And so it would kill the app. And yeah, it just was not a fun thing to work on whenever, you know, you couldn't rely on the internet. And like back in the day, we used to do things without internet all the time. So this last issue I'm going to put in is for enable local development or support local development. Or offline development, I think is better. Offline. And so like obviously you can't like pull things from npm, but like if you have your packages all set up, like once you are done with the internet, you should be done with the internet. You're running it locally to test it. Right now I'm constantly going to the serverless database, but I don't need to. Also, like this will keep me from like messing with the production database until, you know, I have a migration or some safer way to do it. So yeah, and so I think what we need to do is so include instructions for creating a single node local CockroachDB cluster, and use it for development. And so the cool thing is, especially because we're going to be switching to using CDC for our real-time events, that's baked into a single node cluster that you can run on your machine as well. So everything should be able to work self-contained. And I think what we're going to do is end up using like a Docker image for the single node cluster. There's other ways that you can do it. You can install CockroachDB using Homebrew. You know, just download the source and compile it. But I think if we give instructions for running it off of like a Docker image, that will simplify the instructions and then make sure you have everything set up so it's like a secure cluster and things like that. But then what you can do is you can give that as your database URL locally, have the one in your deployment, wherever that is, set to the serverless one, and then whenever you run like Prisma DB push or Prisma migrate or whatever, you're working on your own local one. So if you destroy it, because there's many times where if you make a change, it's like, hey, do you want us to reset the database? And the answer is always no. I mean, I never want you to reset my database. I'll go in and like hack things to like make it work, but yeah, like I think it's going to be a nicer experience. And then I need to, well, yeah, I mean, it might affect how we deploy. Like, I think we might have to put like a step into the deploy to like run the migrate script in case anything changed, so production catches up. But the big thing is So run the local node, and then sync data. So we probably don't need to do that all the time, but like I didn't start like this, and so my test data is in production. Shh, it's in production. But I want to be able to pull that out. So maybe, you know what, I'm going to leave that out. We'll just do it for mine. But I do want to be able to support offline development. And I think that's the only thing like getting in the way. Once we take away the need for like going out to third-party services like Hashira, it really brings the application down to the app, which can run locally using the Remix server, and then the database, which we can run a single node locally. And then like you can just extreme programming, like just take your laptop and I don't know, like dangle from the side of a cliff and code to your heart's content. Okay, cool. And so I think this is the last issue that we put in. So we now have 13 issues. Not all of these need to be closed before I consider this done, but I need to go through and kind of assess those. But I think one that we can work on today is... Oh my gosh, are they in any kind of order? So handle return to for Okta. So what we want to do is let's go into this scenario here. I'm gonna log out, but I know that I want to go to let's see, events. Here we go. Here's one. So let's say that I am the sales, like the person on the floor, and I want to see all of the leads that have been entered for an event, and I get this URL, which looks lovely, let me tell you, because it's a route that's made up of the event ID, which is this GUID here, and then /leads. So this is access the leads on this event. And so if I go here, you can see it's already trying to do the redirect to, and we got the sign on. Oh, I have to be signed on to use that. Okay, that's cool. I'll just go ahead and sign on with Okta. Look at that thing spin. I'm very, very happy about that. Oh, cool. I'm logged in. Oh, now it's... Well, where did they want me to go? So the problem is we're not doing that redirect back to, because I broke it whenever I implemented Okta. It happens. I'm just hoping that nobody like needs that feature right now. I mean, you can just log in. It's fine. And so like I would have to be like, what event was that? I believe it was test event, and I go here. And this is, these are our leads. So we got like Atticus and me and Bob Jones, who is a fake person that I use all the time. I hope there's not a Bob Jones with that email address. I probably should have picked something more fake. Anyway, so let's see what we need to do to fix that. And luckily, Sergio, if you are in the Remix community, you probably know Sergio. You probably read one of their blog posts, but add return to behavior to Remix auth is here. And so, yeah, the problem is what we are doing is we're telling it, because it's Okta, we're telling it to go away from the website, and then Okta redirects us back. I've done it before where like you can also send like state information over, and then they send that back and you can grab it out of it. But it did not look like that was a possibility for Okta, and this is probably the better way anyway. So like I said, something super simple. Now let's create a cookie to store the return to value. And so their solution is to create a return to cookie, store the location. They set the max age to 1 minute because they don't want this cookie to live for a long time. If you come back, later, well, you'll probably write over it, but there's no use having this cookie long. So short-lived cookie. And then you just have to update the login to pull out the information about the cookie, and use it. And where is, I have all this. I feel like this was kind of very high level, and so like I see a lot of things from Sergio that like explain how to do it, and I think it's made for people to go, oh, and then they like go do it, but I like to see a little bit more, and this is actually being done in the Epic stack, so that's awesome. So let's go over to it. So GitHub, Epic Web Epic Stack, and so we can see here, if we go in and we take a look, go into the app. Oh, the other thing I want to do, I don't know where I got this, but I started putting things in a services folder, and everywhere else it's that people put things in a util folder. It's like nitpicky, but like I like conventions. So I'm gonna change it. I've already started doing things, putting things into into the utils folder, which I used to do because like that's how the jokes app did it. This is how like everything I've seen did it. I don't know where I got it from. All right, so we're in the Epic stack. If we look at inside the utils, they have their auth, and so they're using the form strategy. It's actually, I think, over in a resource route. So they have the resource route. I also went through and implemented remix flat routes. So if you take a look over here, and if you open up my routes, it's not like really long file names anymore. So what's really great is I can do like resources plus as a folder name, and then everything underneath there, like it puts it all together before it creates the routes. Very nice. Things look a lot better. But I have an auth folder that holds my auth stuff. So I've got like Okta, which holds the form. And so like trying to do this like a full stack component, I put all of the stuff together with it. So you can pull the Okta login form that you see on the login page from here, and it points it to the action handler that's right here. But then the form uses some controls. So we got my Okta login button that does the really cool spinny thing, and then the Okta login button uses an Okta Aurora logo, and so I just have it all in there. So my thought is, let's put everything together, and I think I could probably go a step further and put this into a folder. So it's like the Okta folder, and so it's got like the index, which would be this file, and then the callback, which would be inside there, and then everything is self-contained in an Okta. So like if you're going to use Okta, just like bring that part in, and then basically it's going to look like /auth/ the login strategy, and so it's going to have all of the stuff in there. Login auth strategy is what it's called. Playing around with it, like can't put it in resources, like everything in resources, which would also make sense. But my problem is I did not set up the Okta app that gives you the client ID and secret, and you have to give them the name of the callback URL, and so I can't change that myself. So maybe I'll clean it up later, and maybe I'll clean it up later. But then I will have to like go in and be like, can you change these, like the callback URL, or else it doesn't work. So, cool. So yeah, but that's flat routes, and it's made things a lot easier, because there's just was so much going on in that folder. So like a little bit more organization, which is what I love. So the big thing would be in, and he put it in marketing, and so he's also organizing his files into folders too. So we've got these folders that start with an underscore. Those are URL-less, no, not your pathless layout folders. And so there's no layout in here, so nothing's going to be applied to it, unless it's this. Yeah, no, it's not. So there's no layout, and so it's just kind of for organization, because it's not going to like create a path. So if you go to slash index, you'll get to this page. Like there's no slash marketing slash index, which is nice. So it's not in there. It's in, I believe it's the pathless auth one. So here's like the login page, and so inside the loader, we are actually, this is where we're getting the session information. Because the session also holds. Oh wait, this is the with Remix Auth. It likes to store the error message in a cookie, and so this is getting that. And then, so for the login page, we're still setting the redirect to in the parameter in the URL parameter. So I already have that set up. And then I believe it's, so he's passing it into his form component, which is in resources, and then he's doing something with it there. So I would need to pass it into my Okta form, and then and do. So let's see what he's doing with it. So if we go into resources and login, so this down here is the component. So we got the inline login, and so passing over the redirect to and the form error. So the form error is what we were getting from the loader of the login page. So because of Remix Auth, checking to see if there's an error. If there is, pass it in, so that way we can display it inside the form. Just passing things around. And so we got the redirect to, and I believe there is a hidden field, if we can find it. There we go. So there is an input field that is of type hidden, where we're passing the redirect. So what's going to happen is that redirect is going to make its way to the action. And so up in here, oh cool, everything is highlighted. So here's the action function with, you know what, he's not doing it that way. I just realized, like as we're walking through this is the way that I did it with the form auth. So we're just passing the redirect around to where, you know, if nope, that's to remember. Yeah. So we're just passing the redirect around, and so if there is a redirect, then we're just going to the new place. It's interesting that they're throwing it. All right. So yeah, so that's actually not going to help me. So back to here. Back to Sergio. He's got a great blog, lots of different remix things available. Check it out. Let's see. So where do we need to start? I think this is the super simple part. Update the login page to set this return to cookie based on the return to search param. Okay, so we have the return to search param. So in the login, okay, wait. Oh, that's interesting. Setting the action function and the loader function to this login function. So in the action and the loader, we are grabbing the return to from the search params. So we would have to pass it into our function or into our form. Here's where they're doing auth.authenticate, using auth0 as an example. So that is one that does the redirect away and then the callback to come back. And so they're going to await this. and I think this is something he's doing because of the loader and the action being the same function. So where if they try to authenticate and they're already authenticating, it might be set to throw an error. And then function is redirect. If response that's status. Way more complicated. Okay. In the success redirect, take them to return to or home. This way, it's already authenticated. It will go to return to. What is the redirect for this? So is it redirecting back to... Okay, so they're using it here. Maybe auth0 does work different. Okay. See, finally in the callback URL. Oh no, in the callback URL, we'll add this. So get the return to info from the cookie. So the return to is equal to the await return to cookie.parse request the headers that get cookie and if undefined and all. Now we can change it to this. Oh, okay. So basically, they were like, "Here's the hard way to do it," and now we can. Yeah. Okay. Instead of auth0, you have your own login page with forms of buttons. You can make the loader do something like this. Yeah, so this is what it is. Well, with this, when the user goes to your login page, you will set the cookie using the return to value from the URL. Then when the user submits the form to trigger the login, some auth provider or other strategy will already have the cookie callback. The cookie and the callback will be able to read it. Okay, cool. So basically, I guess I should have read from the bottom up. But we are going to need this. Oh, I bet this is probably where I got it from. Services. So I bet Sergio uses services instead of utils. But we need to have a cookies.server.ts to store the return to cookie, and I bet they put it right in there. So they also use let, where I use const. I only use let if it's something that I know I want to be able to change. I don't know. So let's go ahead and we'll start with this. And we find out later that this is what they did. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in utils. So like slowly I'm moving things over to it. I just think it would be boring for you to watch me like move files around and like chase down anything that didn't auto update. So let's add a new file. It's going to be cookies.server because this is something we want to run on the server.ts. I believe it was cookies, right? Yeah. And then we're going to have our return to cookie. I'm going to change this to const. Create cookie. I believe that comes from... What does that come from? Is it from the session? I think session. So in services, because it's still in there.
I guess I don't have too many files. So session, commit session, create cookie session storage. Okay, so we grab it from remix run node, I bet. So quick fix, yes, import from @remix run node. And then is production, okay, so I've used this somewhere before. Here. Process.m. I guess that's always going to be, like, I didn't specifically check that one, but I guess that's one that's like always set. And so here's loop. And then make sure, let's see, path, same site lags. I feel like we should probably copy some of the other, well, that's, age is 60. I guess this is a long running one. Okay. So we'll start with that. So we've got our cookie server session. So we can go to, let's see, down here. So we can now use this, the loader in the login page to set this. So let's do this. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different because I think I'm already messing around with cookies in there. So let's go to our login page, which is under admin. It's in our index page. Oh, look at this. Here's a lot of things that I commented out. Returning this. Oh, this is me checking to see if they're already authenticated. So if they're already authenticated, then we need to redirect. Just trying to think of the situation, because like you probably will never go back to the index if you're authenticated. But you have to, there's no link to the index, only the one that logs you out. Okay. So what we want to do is, we're going to await this, so we're going to run this first. So that way, if they are authenticated, we're just going to send them to the dashboard. Then, it says a different cookie. Can we set multiple cookies? Because I should really like do this part. This is the part where it's like sending the form error. We'll figure that out we'll figure it out when we figure it out. So let's go ahead and put this in here. So our URL is going to be a new URL from the request.url, and then we are going to attempt to get the return to from, yeah, return to. So like we don't even need that part anymore. Cool. So we're gonna get the return to from the parameter. the query string parameter. And I'm gonna, again, const that. And then we got headers. And so if we have return to, we're going to set the cookie with the await. Let's see, can we quick fix this? Yes, add the import. Okay, so we're gonna serialize the return to, and then to make this work, we do need to return it in the JSON. Are we returning data? Oh, the form error message could be nothing. So we need to return JSON, and I think that's commented out. So let's uncomment that. What in the world? Quick fix. All right, I just realized that like I didn't have the ESLint plugin installed, and so now I have yellow squigglies. Let's get all the squigglies going. So yeah, we have JSON, so we can use it. So we're going to return JSON. I'm just going to return an empty object because I'm not returning anything right now. Ignore all of this stuff that's like commented out. We'll figure that out later. And then we do, yeah, and then we just send back the headers. Okay, and so what we've done now is we've captured the return to from the query string. And so we're storing that into a cookie so that way we'll have access to it in the callback function, I'm guessing. And so now we need to go to the callback, and so he's like, more code. Okay, where do we talk about the callback function? Okay, finally in the callback URL, we'll add this. And so this is where we will grab the return to from that cookie. And then also give it a default. So like the default will be going to like /admin/dashboard. Cool. All right. So this is in our auth0 callback. Right now, all we're doing is returning this authenticator, but we need to grab that value, and I'm gonna grab that code. Okay. So we need to bring this in. Come here. Come on. Add that import. Cool. Okay. Yeah. And so we'll just move this up here. So we're saying give us the return to value, or if you don't have it, use admin dashboard, and then our success redirect is going to turn into return to. Wow, did I create a loader that was not async? Okay. So in theory, we're done? I don't know, let's try it out. Let's see if I've killed the, yeah, I did. I killed the server. Whenever you start like moving code around, it gets upset and then it just barfs. I am using the like experimental dev or unstable dev, so things that you deal with. It's fine. Okay, so that's running. Let's go back to localhost. I think I'm logged in. I'm going to log out. And then I'm going to try to go to that very long. Yeah, let's go try to see our leads. We're going to go to it. It's going to be like, oh no, you're not logged in. I think maybe like it would be nice to like put in some kind of message. So like I could also append some kind of message onto this string or onto the URL and then like display it here. So like, please log in to continue. Maybe we'll add that too, because I can show you where this like URL is coming from. I have a function called like require user, and if the person's not logged in, it will like grab the URL and add that on. So it's nice. But maybe like adding a message on would be nice, and then we can display it right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign in again. Sign in with Okta. Spin, spin, spin. Again, I love this. I did have to like put in something to make like the spinning slower, because if you just use like the regular tailwind spin animation, it goes really fast, and so I had to like put in another animation kind that would make it slower. But okay, so that did not work. But what happened? You know what? I think in the first one, up here, in the action, no? Okay, we might have to do this a little slower, and like inspect cookies and things like that. So yeah, all that should work. Yeah, because we're just doing authenticate. Here's the request, Okta. All right. So I'm going to log back out. I'm going to try to go to that leads page again. Okay, and then let's look at our application, cookies. So there's an access token, but there is no redirect to. Any messages over here? Okay, I guess we get to play the console log game. You know, I thought things were going too easily. So let's console.log return to. Okay. So rebuilding, it's gonna reload this page. So return to is null. Okay. I'm using redirect to, as it turns out. So I think I'm gonna continue using redirect to. So I just need to make this change in two places. So let's call it redirect to and redirect to, and redirect to, and I know I could have like hit Control D, but that was, I don't know, fun. Okay, so we got to change it there, and then we got to change it in the callback to make sure we're looking for the right thing. So we're gonna go paste. Oh, I named it. It's called return to cookie. We'll fix that too. Yeah, so we're getting the cookie, getting the value from it. And then before we go too far, let's go ahead and go into our cookies. We haven't committed any of these. Like, we could name them whatever we want and then change it back, and no one needs to know. I can scrub this recording. And I could be like, y'all are liars. Liars, all of you. So redirect to cookie, and this is redirect -2. Cool. And this is... Wow, I did a really bad job. There we go. Now all that is says redirect to, redirect to, redirect to. All right, I think that's all of it now. Let's try this again. And yeah, I changed so many things that like it just crashed. Okay, building. Aha! Here we go. So in the cookies, you can now see redirect to, and it looks lovely. Show URL decoded. Oh, okay. So we have our redirect to in. I'm going to go ahead and close this. Let's sign in with Okta. Yes. Okay, we're going to try it one more time. One more time just because, like, so we're going to log out. No redirect URL. Okay. And so now let's try to go to our leads. There's our redirect URL. And we log in. And redirect. We got it. We did it. We did it. We did it. So let's do that thing with the message, because I think that's helpful, because it's like you sent me to a login page. So let's go over here, and I will show you the function that's doing like all of that redirect stuff. So inside of my, let's see, services auth service, I have this function. There's like, you're seeing like, I just like commented out like all of the form auth stuff. Once I figure out how to handle multiple auth strategies at the same time, we'll just add it back. So I have this function here called require user. I use it on any of the admin functions to make sure people are authenticated before they can view it. So let's look at our admin page, the dashboard. So the first thing that happens is I call await require user, give the request, and if they are authenticated, it's not going to do anything. But if they're not, it's going to throw them back to the login. And so what I do in that is also, I did that thing where it didn't keep open the one I wanted. Okay. So also what I do is I pull off the URL and the path name. And so like this is something that I learned from like I think the Jokes app and other things I've seen probably from Kent C. Dodds, where I'm grabbing the redirect to string, and then I'm just adding it to the URL. So whenever we do the failure redirect, so yeah, it's calling the authenticator is authenticated. We saw that in in the login, but we're kind of doing the reverse. The login is like, you're authenticated, go here. This one's, you're not authenticated, go to the failure URL. So I'm just sending them to the admin with the search params, and I feel like I saw something. No, it's fine. No, this is fine. So what I could do is add another URL param on here that's like a message. We'll call it like a login message. And so I can say, let's add another one that is login message. And then we'll say, oh, this is an array. It's not an object. Please log in to continue. Continue. I don't know if it needs a period or not. And so now, let's go back over here. Let's log out. Did I break something? Nope. Just the server, the developer server was doing something. So if we try to go to our leads, you can see up here we now have this login message. Please log in to continue. And so in the index page where we have our login, where we are grabbing, I'm going to take this off. And so we're going to say const login message. What did I call it? Oh, I actually spelled out message. Wow. Like a lifetime of me like typing MSG for message. And I just forgot it, I guess. So we're going to grab this from the search params.get. Nope. Login message. And then it's not going to do us any good on the server, so we're going to pass it to the front in this JSON here. So we're also going to pass in login message. And then we can now use our use loader data. So this is going to be fun. Actually, we don't need search params anymore, so I can clean some of this up. We're not going to use search params. We are going to use loader data so we can get the information from the loader function. So we got data. And then we don't need to, so what we were doing before is we were pulling the URL from the front end, passing it with a query string, or not with a query string, with a hidden field eventually, but we can make the cookie handle that now, our short-lived cookie. So I'm going to get rid of these two lines because we don't need them. And then let's go down here and find the top of our form, which is right here. And so what we'll say is data dot login message. So if we have a login message, then let's display a message. Otherwise, null. Oh, forgot the question mark. I was like, why are you upset about that? I'm checking for null. So let's just do a little div with our login message. Data.login message. Let's give it some style. like at one point I had like a error or an error list on here. So let's just say class name equals say text small. Text, let's do red 500. That's probably good for it now. Let's see. Oh, look at that! It automatically popped in. Thank you, HDR, HMR, whichever one's running. So now, oh, look, I have to log in to continue. I didn't have access to that, and so whenever I log in, it's going to redirect me. So that's nice. That's something else that we can do to kind of make things a little better. And then whenever we get around to putting in permissions, we can kind of handle things a little differently. Maybe do a different message. I don't know how we want to handle it if like they're already logged in but they don't have permission. I think we can handle that in the route itself whenever we do a permissions check. Yeah, so probably it would go, here's this URL, and I go to it, and oh, I need to be authenticated, and then it tries to go back, and it's like, you don't have access to this, and so it would be on that page. Yeah. But I like adding this little message to the query string just so we can like kind of tell people what's going on. We could add other things to it to like, you know, give it a better message. This is kind of generic. This is what it's always going to say. But we could use the information from that the request that's being sent to the require user to like pull more information. But cool, I like this. I think to finish up, I'm going to try to clean up a little more with like the form. Because the form is expecting the redirect to, but I want to make it accept the cookie. So yeah, because I'm like, do I want to like send the redirect URL like through that way, or do I want to make it use the cookie? I think like just keeping it with the cookie and standardizing on that. So I think we can do that. So like here, the form login, which is commented out because I don't want to use that strategy right now. I am going to take off this redirect to. Okay, so all we're doing is sending it to the form URL, and then we can go over to our resource routes, to our login. See, I get that it is a resource route, but I feel like it should sit underneath like auth. So like maybe, you know what? I'm just gonna move it because it makes more sense. So like this is the Okta strategy. This is the I think I would also want to rename it to form. Because it's the form strategy. And so /auth/Okta does the Okta stuff, /auth/form does the form stuff, keeps everything nice. I'm not going to move it yet. We'll just continue through. Why do I keep refactoring things? I don't know. Yeah, so in login, so this form is expecting a redirect to, so we're going to take that out. And we'll take it out of here as well. Oh, that makes that collapse nicely. And so down here, there is an input that is a redirect to. And then since we took that out, I believe it's up here in the schema. So yeah, so there's a redirect to here. So I just want to take that out because it should never expect it. If we don't pass it, it wasn't the end of the world because it was set to default to something. But it's like not part of our login form anymore. So we'll take that out and then follow the red. So here, const redirect to is equal to submission.value. And so what we need to do is get this from the cookie like we did with the octa callback. And so I'm just going to borrow it right here. Ooh, I'm going to also make that a const. Sorry. I'm not going to like get into like let versus const and all of that, like tabs versus spaces, like you do you. But this is me. Okay. So instead of grabbing it from the submission value, which it's not going to parse that out anymore, we will just set the redirect to equal to this, and then we do need to pull in the cookie. So now we have the redirect to value, and then we can do the authenticate with the form strategy and pass it the redirect, which has our default on there, and all the rest of the wonderful stuff. And so that's ready. This is ready to be used whenever whenever we add it back in. Like I could go through and like uncomment all the stuff in the auth.server.ts, and it can expect to, because like whenever you authenticate, you call which strategy you're going to use, and then just hide the form. And really, it would work like, you know, if you still had a form user in there, like, because I have this like password hash that's now like optional. I just don't know if it's the best way to do it, and so like until I figure it out, you know. But no, playing around. Let's see, we played around with that. I'm gonna go ahead and move this. Yeah. So I'm gonna move it, and then there's like a couple places that I need to update. So let's move this into auth. And so yeah, move it into auth. And then it's not gonna like automatically update it because, you know, the import is commented out. But then I'm going to rename this to form, so it's the strategy. So the first thing I need to do is go in here, and a lot of this still like works because I try to use the tilde. Sometimes like whenever you get it to like automatically add, it's like I'm gonna just do /, but if you move it outside of the folder, then it's broken. So what we want to do is down here in the form, we're telling it to go to /resources/login, and so now we want it to go to /auth/form. So it hits the action function of this file that we just moved and renamed. And then the second place that I need to fix this is in my index under, so we pull in this form login form login form. I guess that's what I named it. Yeah, because it's the form strategy. And we're pulling in the form for the form. Yeah, for the form login. We're pulling in the login form for the form. It's fine. So I just need to go in here and change this, and oof, okay, yeah, that was broken anyway after I updated that. So it's gonna look like this, but it's gonna be /form, and so that's ready to go. Yeah, then we got like the commit session, get session stuff. I do need to like figure out how to like work all of this in, because this is how we're getting the form error that we're passing in. Because I guess we can do 2 set cookies. I think I saw somebody talking about that, so it's probably okay. But yeah, like basically form, you know, is ready to go. Again, I guess like it originally worked. So the only other change I think I would do is in the auth here. And so instead of having octa.callback and octa is just have the octa folder and include like the underscore index and the callback, which what time is it? I'm like, so the machine that like is right for the monitor that's like right in front of me is a Windows machine, which I have not used since like, well, Windows 7 was the last one I had. It's still on this like computer underneath my desk, but it gets very mad. It's like, why are you still using Windows 7? I'm like, because you want to charge me for the new one. But the new one came with Windows 11. It's foreign to me, but the clock is on the bottom, and I'm used to Macs where it's on the top, and so I don't know. Okay. We got a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and make that other change with the Octa folders, and then I can test it real quick, and then we'll call it a day. I feel like we got some things accomplished, but like really we just kind of refactored. But the redirect, that wasn't working, and it is now, so we can actually like close that issue. Hooray! Progress. So what I want to do here is I want to create a new folder. And I'm going to call it Octa plus. Plus is the little code that says that like this is part of the path route. And so I'm going to take both of these files, move them into the Octa folder. Yeah, go ahead. And then for the callback, I'm going to take off the Octa dot because that folder takes care of that. So we've got the Octa callback function. And then for this, I think I can call it index or underscore index, but if you do the underscore, it just keeps it at the top. And so this is underscore index. And then we got to see what all did we break. So the paths should still be the same. But we probably have to go to index. Yeah, here we go. And I think I can change that to Octa plus. Nope, because it's not index. We have to do, yeah. There we go. And I think that's the only thing that really changed, because the callback is only called from from Octa, and it's called as a URL, and that did not change. But yeah, so now you can see like for auth we have form auth and we have Octa auth. Octa takes much more things. Cool. All right, so we made those changes. Let's see if it works. Are we still running? You know what? Just for good measure, I'm going to kill it. And then we're going to start it again. Okay. Did I? Nope. Oh, there it is. All right. So we still got a redirect. That's fine. It should still work. So let's sign in with Octa. And boom. We did not break anything. Awesome. Like, I think auth, except for that one ticket that is for multiple strategies, is pretty much done. We've already tested the logout button multiple times today. So let's go ahead and, what was that issue? Did I just like close my window, or did? All right. No. Let's go back to the issues. We were working on issue, this one, 12. All right. So let's, add. So let's go ahead and make a commit. Git status. Sure. So let's git commit am added redirect to support. Ooh, redirect to and login message support for. I'm just gonna say remix auth because it's not really anything for just Okta, really. Via cookie. I was like, are we saving all of the query string, or? Yeah, we are. Yeah, no, we're saving the whole URL. Never mind. We're fine. We're fine. Via cookie, that should be lowercase. Closes number 12. And git push. So it's not like merged in yet, so it probably won't close it automatically. But it did reference it. Look at that. Yeah, so it probably won't close it until it's actually merged in the main, but we'll wait until next week and do that. Or like after the after Red Hat. But yeah, I think that's it for today. I feel like I got a lot done. What else? Next week is Memorial Day, so I will not be working on Monday, but I will be back Tuesday for another stream. Over the weekend, my niece is coming from Indiana, and we're going to see Taylor Swift on Saturday, so that should be fun. But in the meantime, I will see you next week, and you all get to see my new goodbye screen. So enjoy it. Here we go. Bye all.